For number 1, you can have 9x squared plus 4, and the values that x cannot be equal to are 2/3, half, negative 2/3, and 1. You get 1 point if you have the simplified version correct, and 1 point if you have all values that x cannot be equal to. And then for number 2, x minus 6, and negative 2, 1/3, 2, 2.5, 1/3, and 2i. If you'll remember, x squared equals a negative 4 when we did the imaginary numbers previously a while back. Square root of both gives me x equals 2i. That's because the square root of negative 1 equals I. Square root of negative 1 times square root of 4 is the square root of negative 4. This is an I, and that is a 2. We have 3, so x plus 2 over x plus 5. And you have to have negative half, or not negative half, but negative 1.5, negative 5, 1 2/3, 3, and negative 3/4, and 1. For number 4, it should be 1 over x plus 5, and then negative 2, 2, 3, negative 4, and negative 5. On number 5, it is 3 times the quantity x squared plus 4 over 4, or you could have 3x squared plus 12 over 4. 1 1/3, a half, negative 2, and 2. On the bottom, you could have this, or 6x plus 9 over 2x plus 8. And then 3, negative 4, a half, and negative 1. Number 7, 6x squared y is what you're left with out of that big mess at the top. And x cannot be equal to 0, y cannot be equal to 0. For 8, you're left with x squared plus 16, and x cannot be 4i. For number 9, you could have 5x, or 5 times the quantity x minus 2, or 5x minus 10, and x cannot be negative 2. Number 10 comes out to be 4 times the quantity x squared plus 9 over 3, or you could have 4x squared plus 36 over 3. So negative 3 and 3. To simplify rational expressions, and we'll try to review some of the stuff we've done up to this point. Here's an example. Let's see, we'll make this one negative 6x plus 2 over 9x squared minus 1 times 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 over x squared minus 4. Look at your problem as if, and whether you know anything about football or not, I think most everybody understands that there's a quarterback and there's a defense, and the quarterback looks at the defense before he does anything. So this is the defense, the whole problem. You're the quarterback, and you have to look at the whole picture before you start. The first thing I notice is that I have a difference of 2 squares on the bottom left. And when I find the square root of each of those terms, 3x and 1, alternating the signs, I notice that I may have something that's going to cancel out with this. I see I have a 6 and a 2 up here, but it's not exactly a 3x plus 1 or a 3x minus 1. And I see I have a negative sign there. Anytime you see a negative sign at the beginning of something, chances are you could at least factor out a negative 1. In this case, I could factor out a negative what? 2. And if I do that, I'm left with 3x minus 1. Does that help me out?
Yeah.
Yes. Here's another difference of 2 squares here. That's an x plus 2, x minus 2. Now that doesn't cancel out with anything that I have so far. But when I factor this, perhaps I might have an x plus 2 or x minus 2 because I have a minus 2 at the end. So let's see if we can break this up with not much choice for the 3x squared other than 3x and x. We know that since we have minus minus in the expression, I've got to have alternating signs for the factors. So I'm going to have a minus 1, 2 or a 1 minus 2. So I'm going to try plus 1 and see if it works out. Plus 1 minus 2. So this is negative 6x and this is x. Negative 6x plus x, is that negative 5x? Yeah, so that works out. Is there anything I can cancel now?
X minus 2, 3x minus 1.
Yep, that's gone. Anything else?
3x plus 1.
So I'm left with,
Negative 2 or x plus 2.
yeah, that's what I have left. And the values of x that cannot pop up from this one, you set it equal to 0. And I don't think we have to review these simple equations over and over each time, at least not on the screen. You'll have to show it in your work. But it will come out to be a negative third. That'll be a positive third. That's a negative 2. That's a positive 2. If you put them in order, you get a negative 2, negative third, 1/3, and 2. Here's a bonus problem. Solve this and express your answer as an integer or a fraction, a mixed number. Just make sure it's reduced. No decimals. The bonus answer should be 2 and 1/3. Actually, a negative 2 and 1/3. Solve this. Make sure your answer is a fraction, an integer, an improper fraction, mixed number, but no decimals, Mr. Woodrow. The solution for the second bonus is 1 and 1/4. Your quiz is 2 minus x. And what I need you to do is to explain with numbers or words how to go from 2 minus x to x minus 2. The solution for the quiz is whether you put it in words or numbers, you must show in some fashion that if you factor out a negative 1 from that, you can end up with this. Solve this. No decimals, fractions, such as mixed numbers, improper fractions, proper fractions, just no decimals. The solution to this bonus is -1 and 1/4. This practice is 3x minus 2 over 9x squared minus 4 times 3x plus 2 over x plus 2. And for this, notice you have a difference of 2 squares, and on that bottom it's going to be 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. And then on the right side, 3x plus 2 over x plus 2. So you can cancel out this, this, and be left with just 1 over x plus 2. And the values of x that cannot show up, let's see, we could have, that would be a negative 2/3. That's a positive 2/3, negative 2. So you would have a negative 2, negative 2 over 3, 2 over 3. Proper fractions, improper fractions, mixed numbers, but no decimals. The solution to this, and I'll work it out, it is 16x plus 24 equals 9x minus 6. So when you move this over, you're going to end up with a 7x, and then this goes over to this side, you'll have a negative 30. So a negative 30 over 7, that's horribly written, is a negative 4 and 2/7. This is extra credit. You can do those two problems or not. It's not going to make a difference. It's out of 0 in Progress Book, just as the practice points are, so that you're not going to lose anything if you miss everything. And here's the homework that consists of a lot of review of all the different types of factoring that we've done so far. Tomorrow you're going to have a different type of factoring thrown in that we've already had a test over before, and that's factoring by grouping. So there's one more thing that you have to look at.